How do there, guys? Right, so on this one, I was actually thinking about it last night about actually the question, which was how do you feel the lead down? Okay, right. Actually putting it into action on the bank, and many of others have tried doing this as well. The problem is you can't feel the rod, and you can't really see a great deal. So doing those sort of videos, you're none the wiser. Okay. So I've got a pen here because the pen's mightier than the sword. So we're actually going to simplify it right out for you. Right, so get a lead, doesn't really matter what size it is, 1 ounce all the way to 5 ounce, whatever you like to use, okay? Just tie that on to your end of your main line, obviously onto your rod. Pop yourself in the garden, and then what you want to do is just literally let the lead dangle down from the rod tip, have a good like 4 or 5 foot sort of thing, and literally just keep bringing the rod down and actually feel the lead actually onto the ground itself. So, and let it literally go, and you'll feel the donk, right? And you'll notice with doing these actions, obviously you're going to be going up and down. So you're going to be going down with obviously the weight of the actual lead itself, not the weight of the rod. And then all of a sudden it'll stop. Now that sensation, imagine this as a rod. The sensation, what you feel from that lead hitting your garden ground, is the same sensation as what you're actually going to get in water. Within reason. Okay. Right. So the key thing is, when you're actually doing this feeling lead down, actually on the bank into water, you're either going to be clipped up, you're going to stop your line in some form, whether it's by your bail arm or by your finger on the spool, whichever way you want to do it. You need to stop that line coming off. But let me go a little bit further. So normally when you're clipped up, you're aiming to a target zone. It could be the far margin, it could be a snag, it could be because you know for well that it's a clean spot actually in the, like say, weed or whatever it is. Okay, now when you're feeling leads down, you are going to feel different types of pressures actually coming through the actual rod. So if it's a hard one and it's like bump, and you'll actually feel it, you'll never see the rod tip or anything going, it will just literally be the rod go down and then bang, and it will like stop, and you're like, bah, yeah, that's a hard surface. So you're either on rocks or gravel or something hard like that, possibly an old concrete slab. Right, if you're in weed, it's a lot harder to feel it down in weed because it's working a little bit like a memory foam, and so also very deep silt does the same thing. Now with silt, you got different depths of silt, so it could be a centimetre deep, or it could even be 2 or 3 foot deep. And that, if it's a deeper one, it's going to feel exactly the same as weed. So you're going to chuck in and you just ain't going to feel nothing. It's just, you're going to feel it lock and go hard. But if you give it a gentle pull back, if it is literally rock hard solid, then you know that you're in deep seal. If you're pulling it back and it's literally jink, 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 then that is weed. Right, soft sand and that sort of thing, so sands and stuff, you will still feel the donk down, but it is a little bit softer. It's like it's on a cushion sort of thing. So there's your different scenarios on actually what you're actually going to be chucking over and what onto, basically. Right, so this is your rod. This is how to do it. This is the best way to do it. Imagine this as your rod, very short rod. It's designed for very, very small fish out of the fish tank. Yep. Right, so as you chuck in, as you cast, you bring your rod over your shoulder, okay? And then you let your rod roughly go about 45 degrees, so you know for well your line can come off nice and smooth. Just before it hits the water, bring your rod back up to roughly about 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock, whichever way you prefer to have it, whichever way you want to call it, should I say. Make sure that line is stopped, so that line cannot come off anymore. So as the lead hits the water, it's going to be sinking. So what you want to do is let your rod just literally take the weight of itself, which will be the lead actually doing it for you. It will come down and it will come down and it will come down, and all of a sudden it will stop. But the little donks, what you felt in the garden actually through your hand, is the same sensation. Adds that same sensation, should I say, as what you're going to feel in water. So remember, you cast over your shoulder. right? Your rod comes to 45 degrees. It's going out to the area wherever it's going to be. Just before it hits the water, bring the rod tip back up. Yeah, so point it back up towards the air, not directly straight up, not 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock. As it hits the water, just let the weight of the rod bring itself down, and then all of a sudden it'll go donk. You felt your lead down. Hopefully, guys, that has made it more simple for you and easier for you to understand. But the key thing is, make sure you stop that line. If you keep your bail arm open and your line just keep coming out and out and out, you're never ever going to feel a lead down. You need a nice tight line so it's stopped in some way. So you've got a straight line between you and the lead. Okay. Hopefully that's made it better. Reason why I've done it that way, because like I say, seeing it actually in a video, casting it in and all this lot, you're not going to learn nothing. To you guys, all it looks like is me just chucking a lead into the water. You don't see a single thing. So remember the test. Get a lead, doesn't matter what size it is, fasten that to the end of your main line, let it swing from your rod tip, and just literally just have a couple of practices in the garden, just literally letting the lead hit the ground. Yeah, different rates, different speeds and stuff. And what sensation you're going to feel through the rod is exactly the same sensation what you're going to feel when you're actually on the bank. Do it in action. There you go. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.